You don't know what to believe, actually. That brings me right to put the spotlight story. You know how we start every episode
right
off.
into it.
Right into it, bro. We start every episode off with a big story, little story. This one was big. In my world, at least. Mark Zuckerberg had come out, right, and said the Biden administration forced him to censor certain information back in 2021 and 2020.
I didn't hear that, but I knew about that.
You knew about that they forced him to do it, or that he?
Yeah, but I thought it wasn't only Facebook, but it was like
Twitter.
Yeah, like all of them.
Yeah, the Biden administration probably pressured them too. I think Elon, when he took over Twitter, he had come out and dropped some of that. But basically, letter to the House Judiciary Committee, Mark Zuckerberg, the Meta CEO, said that the Biden-Harris administration pressured Facebook to censor content and then pushed harder after the company initially resisted the government coercion. Basically, it was information about COVID-19 and a little bit, I think, in terms of they didn't want election interference. They were there about that, which related to Hunter Biden's laptop. When that story had come out, they actually and from what Mark Zuckerberg says, they gave him options. He didn't have to take everything down. He could have I believe Facebook has ways where the algorithm will just devalue you, for lack of a better word, so you won't be seen as much. Right. Mark Zuckerberg makes it seem like they made it a choice, but it wasn't a choice. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it seemed like it's 3 years later, right? I feel like you just coming out now because you felt like they punked you.
Well, he's coming out now because they're headed out of office.
Well, they say because it's a lame duck president, basically, that he's so what are they going to do? You know what I mean? But it feels like they punked you and now you acting like more like a punk. It's like, now I'm about to say something, you know what I mean?
Like Red, when Debo leave, he going to be talking again.
It's 100%. 100%. It's like, first, a couple of weeks ago, I think Zuckerberg came out and was like, when Trump came up with the fist and the bloody ear, that was badass, you know what I'm saying? And now this, it feel like, you know what I mean, he ain't feeling the certain administration that's in right now, you know what I mean? But this is important to us because I'm not mad at the government for doing it. And I don't like censorship. I don't think, Kanye West was wilding, but I don't necessarily think he should be banned from Twitter or X or whatever the case may be. Now, maybe suspended, maybe off a certain amount of time, but I think just taking people off, shutting them down is very dangerous. I didn't like when it was done to Donald Trump. But with COVID-19, you gotta put yourself back in them times, y'all. It was scary times. We didn't know what was going on. It was like, we didn't know what was gonna happen of it. Now, listen, don't demonetize me. Don't do none of that. I'm just gonna speak what I think. This is just theory. I think, and this is what Google says today, right? COVID-19 affects people over 65 and older a lot more than it affects
or people with compromised,
immune system. Right. Correct. I think they knew that, right? And they also know America don't really care about old people. Like, it's bad to say, right? But we don't. I gotta remind myself I'm like, call your parents, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're right.
We just don't. It's just like we don't. It's like in other societies, they kind of regard the elders. We don't do that here. Right, we kind of go somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Go somewhere, ride it out.
Yeah. Don't depress everybody around. And I think the government, rightly so, kind of knew that if people knew that, and I'm like, I'm not gonna go to this concert because grandma might. It's bad to say, but grandma might get sick. You know what I'm saying? They gonna go. Mm-hmm. That's just, people's going to weddings when they was telling them not to. People's doing all types of stuff. So I think they just know American sentiment wasn't gonna care about elderly people. And who's the government? Who's it ran by? Old folk. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? People not necessarily all over 65 and older, but closer there than maybe the 25 millennial age. You know what I'm saying? So I can't blame them for maybe predicting, I just think, what human sentiment and mass hysteria would do. And they're like, yo, bro, you can't just be talking crazy on Facebook. Old people listen to this.
It's not only that, though. You have to think, when it comes to COVID, the biggest thing, the government wanted was to get high vaccination numbers, right? Now, if we're in the world where, on social media, there's all of these negative things, we'll just say, about COVID, And we know how popular social media is and how much impact it has on people of all ages. You know, that could hinder the mission, so to speak, as well.
Yeah, 100%.
And so, you know, if there's a lot of misinformation out there, which we know there was, that, you know, that's also a valid reason to want to, because, you know, the most important thing is we want to get people vaccinated to try and get that herd immunity, because it was a public health emergency. It was a real thing.
I haven't heard that term in a while. I remember that. Herd immunity. Yo, and the previous administration literally was said, maybe we could try bleach. He was saying this on hot mics in press conferences. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think someone had to step in and be like, yo, we got to be the adults in the room here, because my man's wilding, just talking crazy. His followers are talking even crazier. Whether they were right or wrong, that word you said, the herd immunity, was, I think, the goal. And maybe I'm different. I feel like the ends justify the means. I don't feel like I missed out on anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, certain people probably want those years back. I don't. I think I lived.
I think it just depends on how it affected you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If I was probably here alone, you know what I'm saying, isolation, then maybe I'd probably feel different about it. But I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. I think it but even so, it was a sacrifice of everybody, you know what I'm saying? My kid was doing classes in the kitchen, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It took a lot. But I think it just, I don't know. It's like, I'm not mad about it. There are some people to this day.
Are you talking specifically about the censorship?
No, not the censorship, the lockdowns. So the
okay.
Yeah. So like, or even.
No, the lockdowns were necessary.
Yeah.
Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You know, because the way COVID was spreading at that, like, too many people were dying. Yeah, and it wasn't only just old people in the beginning. Like, it was a real thing. So it's just one of those things. The lockdowns were necessary, hands down.
Now why you felt the need to take down information about Hunter Biden's laptop, it probably was punking. They probably, you know what I'm saying? We talking about, not to switch gears here, but we talking about the same administration, so to speak, that just strong armed Joe Biden up out of here. Cause he ain't want to go. My man went kicking and screaming, bro. Like somebody brought up a theory, and I'm like, it kind of makes sense, right? And then we didn't notice this, and I should speak for me. I noticed a lot more things, I think, than maybe the average person my age, maybe in my demographic, because I podcast. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like, I say it, I research it, then I edit it. You know, I hear it so many times that like certain things get locked in my memory. You know what I'm saying? And like, so I'm looking at it through a different lens. And I remember the day my girl read the text, was like, Joe Biden just stepped down, right? And then so I'm listening to this theory that homeboy was saying. He was like, yo, Joe Biden did not want to leave. He said, no, I ain't going nowhere. I beat him once. I'm going to beat him again. Embarrassed himself in the debate. Said, let me do this little interview. You know what I'm saying? Let me do a little interview. I'm going to say, they didn't really do that. That had an interview. Then I think, remember, George Stephanopoulos got stopped on the street.
Hey, Susan. Hey, how you doing? What do you think? Do you think Biden should step down? You talked to him more than anybody else have lately. And you could be honest. You don't think he can serve 4 more years? All right. That's an answer.
I don't think he got another 4 years. I'm like, damn, Judge. you just let down the whole administration. But told the truth. So this honest opinion. You know what I'm saying? He didn't think he had another 4 years in him. Joe's still like, nah, right. We ain't going nowhere. I got this. Right? NATO, right? When then they do like a G6 conference or something like that had come to town, he's like, I got this. I got this. My Vice President Trump, you know what I'm saying? Give it up for President Putin, you know what I'm saying? Just slipping in front of everybody, you know what I'm saying? And then still was holding like, yo, we not doing this, dog. I'm running. I'm not going nowhere. We got this. Da-da-da-da-da. Y'all about to have to start over. Nah, I did the primaries. I did this. I earned this. I think homeboy, but I got to tell you more of me. I heard this on my podcast. His people was on the news that morning that the news dropped, talking about Joe Biden not going nowhere. Like, this is stop talking about getting him out of here. We're not doing it. Forget George Clooney. Nobody like him as Batman anyway. We sticking with Joe Biden. Then Joe Biden, right, drops the tweet. It's a letter on Twitter, right? Why Twitter? First time an incumbent president is not going to try to run again. Wouldn't that be an address, which we did get a couple of days later?
Remember,
right?
He was still sick when
COVID.
all of this happened.
It was away with COVID,
right?
Right. So, but Twitter of all platforms.
That's the platform, though. We have to, when. So
wait, hold on.
Okay.
It all leads to a bigger place. So goes as opposed to coming out and just talking to the nation.
Right.
Special report. Joe Biden interrupted, knew everything and just talking. Didn't do none of that. So now I'm going to do Twitter or X, which is like how we communicate nowadays, right? Well, it's a letter on his stationery signed, right? And then homeboy was like, well, he heard, my Barry got up in there, big O, was like, Joe, the donors is gone. Kamala already said she down. We already got her on board.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's like, it's over, whether you like it or not. And this letter is written by you. And it's going out. And if you say you didn't, we're going to say you forgot. We're going to say you did write it. You just forgot. He's like, so whether you like this and then we ain't see. Remember, he beat COVID, but we ain't see him for a little. He was down low, talking about he was like, yo, I heard he don't fuck with Nancy Pelosi no more, all this shit. Nothing coming out. And I'm like, yo, he might have strong on my guy.
Well, no, it's not a might. I mean, he was kicked out. I mean, there's no but there's no different than, when, I don't know if that Secret Service lady stepped down or not. Like, if you messed up, there's going to be pressure on you. We'll give you the opportunity to say you stepped down, but you know what this is.
So I say all that to say, I think they gave Mark Zuckerberg the same deal. Like, you could devalue it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But you gonna take it down.
No. We put that pressure on. We'll present it to you. Here are your options, but you know what you need to do.
It's like the mafia.
Right. Yeah, I mean, no doubt about it.
Which is why I think he's coming out and trying to, say it now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I believe that.
This happens. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. Anybody who believes it doesn't happen, you're just lying to yourself.
But I think that it's necessary.
But it happens in politics. It happens in businesses. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just the way things work.
It's necessary.
Sometimes it is necessary because sometimes our human nature can be a little too, I don't know what the appropriate term, but Joe, it was clear he had no business running, but he was stubborn. So
you got to make the decision for him. Right. And then I like how they flipped it at the DNC, like, a true patriot.
Best president we had. Right?
Stepping down. I'm like,
you did this for us. We love you.
But yeah, man, Zuckerberg shining a light on them, man. Keep your head up and your eyes open, man. What it do, y'all? It's your man DJ Playboy. Just interrupting real quick, man. I really appreciate you watching this episode of the Perfect Talk Podcast. But if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. You got to run them numbers up so I could keep running it up. Also, if you're listening to the audio version on the podcast, make sure you leave a review. Let them know how much you love the podcast and, subscribe to the thing. And if you really, really want to support the team, go to www.perfecttalkpodcast.com. Get yourself a t-shirt, get yourself a sticker. You can even get yourself a mug, man. The possibilities are endless and the prices are low. Holla at us, baby. Let's get it.